Good evening. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM, bringing you your news in detail.
The news headlines on Gold FM.
In your news headlines, Iran gets new interim leader. First fuel queues, then rationing. Is Sri Lanka going to go back in time? All flights to the Middle East cancelled. Protesters call for removal of Sri Lanka Cricket Board. Dulip Mendes gets a promotion.
The top story on Gold FM.
Iran appointed Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafi as its interim supreme leader, a pivotal step in the country's leadership transition following the death of longtime leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei in joint US-Israeli strikes in Tehran. Meanwhile, senior cleric Ayatollah Ali Reza Arafi was appointed as the jurist member of the three-man interim leadership council, effectively positioning him as Iran's acting supreme leader. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian and the chief of the judiciary are also in the council. State media confirmed Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death after hours of silence and denials, following the devastating strikes on Iran by the United States and Israel. The government declared 40 days of public mourning following the killing, as well as 7 days of public holidays. It was reported that Khamenei's daughter, son-in-law and grandchild were also killed in the attacks. The Israeli Defense Forces said Iranian military leaders who were killed include the Minister of Defense, the commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the Supreme Leader's advisor for security affairs, the chief of the military bureau of the Supreme Leader, the chairman of the Military Technology Bureau, the former chairman of the Military Technology Bureau, and the head of intelligence of the Khatam al-Anbiya Central Headquarters, which is the Joint Military Command. Early this morning, US President Donald Trump took to social media to celebrate the death of Iran's supreme leader. He wrote, quote, "Khamenei, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. He was unable to avoid our intelligence and highly sophisticated tracking systems, and working closely with Israel, there was not a thing he or the other leaders that have been killed along with him could do." These sentiments came before Israel's Channel 12 said that the country's Air Force killed a total of 30 senior Iranian officials in just half a minute in the opening strikes against Iran yesterday. Meanwhile, Trump said that the goal of the military campaign, which began on Saturday morning with a barrage of missile and airstrikes, was regime change. He said, quote, "This is the single greatest chance for the Iranian people to take back their country. We are hearing that many of the IRGC military and other security and police forces no longer want to fight and are looking for immunity from us," unquote. Meanwhile, the exiled son of Iran's late Shah, Reza Pahlavi, thanked US President Donald Trump for announcing the strikes in Iran. In an opinion piece in the Washington Post, he also touted a transition plan that he says will prevent a power vacuum in the country. The major military operation, codenamed Epic Fury and Roaring Lion, began across Iran as United States and Israeli forces struck multiple cities. The death toll was recorded at over 200 in Iran, with over 700 injured. The Israel Defense Forces confirmed this morning that they launched a second wave of strikes, while Iran said it is carrying out a sixth wave of retaliatory attacks, launching missile and drone attacks on Israel and US military bases in the region. Since yesterday morning, Iran launched 25 waves of missile and drone attacks against targets across Israel, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Kuwait, and Iraq. It was confirmed that at least one person died in the United Arab Emirates as a result of the strikes, with an expat worker also being injured in a strike near a port in Oman. Israel also confirmed a fatality. The UAE's defense ministry said that Iran fired 137 missiles and 209 drones in the country yesterday. At least one person was killed and 7 wounded during what authorities called an incident at the Abu Dhabi airport. Meanwhile, the Speaker of Iran's parliament called the leaders of the US and Israel filthy animals who will face devastating blows for their ongoing attacks. US President Donald Trump said that Iran will be met with a never-before-seen force if they hit back at the US. The United States and Israel clashed with Iran at an emergency meeting of the UN Security Council, where the UN chief and many countries urged a halt to their attacks and a return to negotiations to prevent the conflict from spreading further into the region and beyond. Secretary-General Antonio Guterres told the Council that everything must be done to prevent an escalation. He warned that the alternative is a potential wider conflict with grave consequences for civilians and regional stability. Guterres said the US and Israeli airstrikes violated international law, including the UN Charter. He also condemned Iran's retaliatory attacks for violating the sovereignty and territorial integrity of Bahrain, Iraq, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and the United Arab Emirates. The US ambassador to the United Nations, Mike Waltz, insisted that the US military action was lawful. Meanwhile, Amir Zaid Iravani, Iran's ambassador to the UN, told the Council that the airstrikes have killed and injured hundreds of Iranian civilians, which he called a war crime and a crime against humanity. He blasted the UN and the Security Council, its most powerful body, for not heeding Tehran's warnings about the warmongering statements by the US in recent weeks, and urged the Council to act now. Russia and China condemned the US-Israeli airstrikes. In the meantime, there were celebrations in Iran following the death of its supreme leader. However, protests also persist. Hundreds of Iraqis attempted to storm Baghdad's fortified Green Zone, where the US Embassy and government buildings are located. Some threw stones at security forces, who responded with tear gas. Gunshots were heard and smoke was seen rising from the area. In the meantime, at least 9 people are dead and 32 injured after protesters attempted to storm the US consulate in Pakistan. Meanwhile, all flights from Dubai International Airport and Dubai's Al Maktoum were suspended until further notice. British Airways also cancelled flights to Tel Aviv and Bahrain until Wednesday and is warning of impact on services to Abu Dhabi, Amman, Doha and Dubai. Virgin Atlantic, Singapore Airlines and Air India also altered their schedules.
This is the local news on Gold FM.
Sri Lankan Airlines confirmed that all flights to the Middle East are cancelled today as well, taking into consideration the situation there. They added that the developments are being closely monitored. All other flights scheduled to depart from Bandar Naik International Airport to the Middle East remain suspended. Meanwhile, the Civil Aviation Authority of Sri Lanka placed Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport on high alert to accept diverted aircraft following the closure of multiple airspaces across the Middle East. Despite the high alert, authorities urged the public to remain calm and avoid unnecessary panic. Sri Lankan embassies in Israel, the UAE and Bahrain confirmed that no Sri Lankans were reported as hurt during the ongoing escalation of conflict in the region. Speaking to us, Ambassador to the UAE, Arosha Rodrigo, gave an update on the situation, stressing that there is no need to panic, despite the unrest.
We have about 350,000 Sri Lankans living in the UAE, but the UAE authorities have stated that the comprehensive security infrastructure in the country is designed to ensure the continuity of normal life and protect all residents and citizens, reassuring the public that the situation is fully under control following the recent attacks. So people in Sri Lanka should stay calm. The authorities have also stated that the system has been activated at the highest level of readiness with enhanced precautionary measures and round-the-clock monitoring in place. Authorities at the Ministry of Interior stated that there was no reason for concern so far given the efficiency of the national defense system and that there is a clear operational framework that prioritizes community safety with the country having the capacity to manage the impact of any threat. A field team is ready and precautionary measures include full security readiness, increased deployment in vital areas, activation of all operation rooms at the national and federal levels around the clock, and intensified monitoring and rapid response systems. Coordination between the Ministry of Interior and the Ministry of Defense has also been enhanced to support information exchange and address such incidents.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism said it is closely monitoring the situation of approximately 1 million Sri Lankans living and working in the region. In the light of the prevailing volatility, citizens in the Middle East are strongly advised to exercise heightened vigilance. Guidelines issued by the ministry include monitoring reliable local media and official announcements, avoiding non-essential travel and large public gatherings, staying in regular contact with the nearest Sri Lankan diplomatic mission, keeping mobile phones charged and carrying valid identification documents at all times. All Sri Lankan missions in the region activated 24-hour emergency hotlines. Additionally, the ministry established an emergency operations centre at the Sri Lankan Bureau of Foreign Employment to provide continuous support. The hotline for the SLBFE is 1989. Hotlines were also provided for those living in the Middle East territories and can be viewed on www.hirunews.lk/en. The growing fuel queues near filling stations is reminiscent of the economic crisis, and now the government is threatening to bring back rationing. Frustrated at the lack of decorum shown by Sri Lankans who are panic buying fuel, Deputy Minister for Energy Muhammad Ilyas Muhammad Akram warned that the QR code system will be brought back if the public continues unnecessary hoarding. Addressing the media today, the Deputy Minister said that there are sufficient stocks in place and that there is absolutely no need for panic buying. Earlier today, the chairman of the Ceylon Petroleum Corporation confirmed that current oil supplies remain unaffected by Middle East regional instability as shipments originate from India and Singapore. Sufficient oil orders are secured for the next 2 months, and authorities warned that individuals found hoarding fuel will face legal punishment to prevent artificial shortages.
Now for some news in brief.
Officers from the Negombo Divisional Crimes Investigation Bureau recovered a foreign-manufactured pistol and 4 rounds of live ammunition in Katana and have launched a joint investigation to determine if the firearm was hidden for a planned criminal act.
The business news on Gold FM.
OPEC Plus members meet today to consider a production increase of 411,000 barrels per day following the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. The proposal significantly exceeds original expectations after military strikes by the United States and Israel triggered shipping disruptions.
International news on Gold FM.
South Korean President Lee Jae-myung said today he hopes North Korea will resume dialogue as soon as possible to discuss a new era of relations between the neighbours. In a speech marking the Korea's 107th Independence Movement Day, Lee said he would make efforts to restart talks with Pyongyang for peace on the Korean peninsula.
Entertainment news on Gold FM.
Ryan Coogler's vampire thriller Sinners swept the NAACP Image Awards on Saturday, securing 13 trophies, including Outstanding Motion Picture. Michael B. Jordan won the award for Outstanding Actor, while Miles Casson received the prize for Breakthrough Performance. The film also dominated technical categories, taking home honours for directing, writing, and costume design.
Sports news on Gold FM.
Cricket fans and civil activists gathered outside Sri Lanka cricket headquarters today, demanding the immediate exit of the sport's governing body. Led by a Buddhist monk, the group called for President Shammi Silva and his board of officials to vacate their posts following a string of national team defeats. Protesters allege the current relationship failed to maintain domestic standards and hold them directly responsible for the decline of the game in Sri Lanka. Police deployed heavy security to the area to monitor the demonstration. Sri Lanka's World Cup misery was compounded last evening in Pallekele, with Pakistan commanding a 5-wicket victory. It caps off a miserable Super 8s for the hosts, who remain the only winless team in that round for the tournament. Though the contest ended in defeat, the match went to the wire, with captain Dasun Shanaka putting up a belligerent last-minute blitz. But it all proved all too little too late. Pakistan opted to bat first, giving the locals a target of 213, and Sri Lanka failed to meet that target. Former Sri Lankan captain Duleep Mindis received a promotion to the role of Chief Cricket Development Officer in Oman. The appointment follows his long tenure as the head coach of the Oman national cricket team, a position he held for over a decade. That's it for now. This is Dulia De Silva for Gold FM.